Okay, so my final project was focused on creating a conversational AI for vaccine skeptics. So just as a backdrop to why I'm pursuing this topic is because people don't trust vaccines. 45%, according to one survey, 45% of surveyed American adults doubt vaccine safety, and this is for vaccines in general. And this image here shows you the same survey's results around the world. And as you can see, it's um, not really a promising scenario. Uh, so, so the problem is that the trust in approved and submitted for approval COVID vaccines is projected to be even lower, given the politicization of the issue, which will further hamper the efficacy of the vaccination in ending the coronavirus pandemic. So as you can see, the Pew Research Center did a study very recently and which has shown that there has been a dip in vaccines readiness for the uptake of vaccines even between May and September. And it is easy for all of us to see that this might have even gone further down, given the results of the election and all the chaos and distrust that has come after that. So you guys might say, who cares if people are not taking vaccines, right? The WHO really cares, because we need herd immunity, and to achieve herd immunity, it has been projected that 70 to 90% of the population needs to be immunized. So what can be done? The problem is that there's just not enough like professional manpower to go to each and every anti-vaxxer or vaccine skeptic and try to convince them to take the vaccine and convince them about the safety of vaccinations. For example, in one of the research papers I was reading, a doctor who was interviewed said the doctor could tell within 30 seconds whether it's worth arguing with a parent whether to get their child vaccinated. So there's a more or less promising solution to this, which is to automate these conversations with an NLP-powered chatbot, right? Because a chatbot can be designed to personalize conversations with these vaccine skeptics and anti-vaxxers, and it doesn't get emotional, and it has practically no time constraints. And research into the anti-vaccination movement has shown that it is possible to persuade people to get vaccinated, or at the very least, persuade them to look into the issue more and pursue more credible sources of information. So the product of the work I've done so far for this project is a proof of concept messenger bot made using WitAI's NLP processing and controlled using a JavaScript backend hosted on glitch.com. The goal of this bot is to provide personalized conversations to convince people about the safety of vaccinations and increase the uptake of the COVID-19 vaccines when they roll out either at the end of this year or at the early start of next year. So how I started working on this project was initially I did some research. I joined some anti-vax groups on Facebook and found some on Reddit, but unfortunately they were mostly overrun by trolls, which was a surprising phenomenon because I thought it would be pretty easy to find them given how widespread research has said they are, right? Like there were widespread by trolls. There were posts like, I got my new puppy vaccinated for rabies yesterday, and ever since then, he hasn't been able to talk. But there were some informative posts. So I had to go and look into previous research that has been done into the anti-vax movement to get idea of what the most prominent anti-vax myths are. And the information I got from these groups and the information I got from this research was overlapping. And Pew Research Center also did some more research and said that all these dips in trust of the COVID-19 vaccine is it differs from different age groups, genders, race, and education levels, but they are consistent. But that also means we can personalize to all these different factors to improve the impact, right? The Pew Research Center also found as the reasons why people are concerned about COVID-19 vaccine safety, and they are analogous to the reasons that previous research had found. So how I had implemented the bot is basically the user sends the bot a message on Messenger, which gets sent to the glitch server. The glitch server sends the text to the bit AI NLP model, which does NLP processing, finds some intents and entities, and sends it back to the glitch server, which sends to the dialog manager I've written, which sends it back to the glitch server with a response that the glitch server should send based on the state the dialogue is in and the input that the user has given, and the bot sends the user back that text. Okay, so demo time. Okay, so right now I've set up the bot so that it doesn't remember who I am, but obviously it's very easy to make sure it remembers who, if you have had a conversation with it. So you start the bot by saying hi, and the bot responds, "I'm Jen. What is your name?" "I'm Victor. Nice connecting with you. Where do you live?" "I'm from India. I love the weather in India. Do you like living there?" Also, the reason for this more or less like useless conversation is to first of all build some repertoire with the user, and to also get this very important information. We can also get more information which I haven't written the code yet to use, but the idea is that you can get the name, you can get the location, and you can get their just general medical history with vaccinations and their expectations about vaccinations, and we can really tailor the conversations later on. For example, right now I only use the name to tailor the conversation, but we can really build upon this. So then, okay, then should we chat about COVID-19 vaccine or vaccines in general? I'll say, let's talk about vaccines in general. Oh yeah, okay. Okay, and then it asks you, right? I think they might cause autism in kids. What else concerns you? I think natural immunity. I'll show the backend after this demo really quickly to show you guys what's going on. I think natural immunity is better. That's all. So, and when I say that's all, it generates a response to me. So there's a small issue here. This message should come after these ones, but because these two are big chunky messages, the server latency really messes them up. But I will work on that. So it says, "Thank you for sharing your concerns with me, Victor. I'm eager to talk about safety and implications of vaccinations with you." And then it gives you the two responses based on the two concerns that you have highlighted. And there are many concerns you can tell it. And like based on the concerns you're highlighting, it'll give you a specific response. And then it'll ask you, "Oh, do you want to see sources for these claims?" And I can say, "Yes." And then it says, blah, 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 like a big, "Please refer to credible sources." And then, for example, it can lead you to this WHO site, which has all like very good information on it. It will also lead you to papers about like vaccinations are not associated with autism, which people can read, right? And then it asks you, "Now tell me about your concerns about the COVID-19 vaccine." So I can say, "I think the mRNA-based vaccine can alter my DNA. COVID-19 doesn't impact young people anyways." That's all. Uh-oh. Okay. Cool. So this is again, and so it gives you the response for the mRNA issue, right? And then, but it doesn't recognize this because there was an issue with the VitAI training where I need to input more examples for it to recognize this. But it asks you, "Would you like to see sources for these claims?" I can say no. And then it just ends the conversation being like, "Hey, please be sure to refer to credible sources, questions about COVID-19 and its implications. So basically how this works is that we have VitAI here, and for every utterances, like when you send it to this, it sends you an intent and it sends you an entity. So like when I say a lot of vaccines are bad for my body, it's recognizing it as I'm trying to showcase a concern that I have about vaccines, and then it defines and these are like intents and entities that I've created to like make that have for the conversations I expect anti-vaxxers will have with this bot based on the research that I found. And there are multiple entities. So you can either talk about, oh, it doesn't show. So you can either talk about like the COVID-19 vaccine or vaccines in general. You can talk, there are multiple like vaccine concerns. There are concerns about natural immunity, overload, toxic chemicals, blah, blah, blah. And then there's this backend, which this is the dialogue manager. So you can see based on different intents that it's getting, like introduction, interlocution, conversation choice. This is the code that works with it, and you can store the responses for each like concern here. And I have hard coded the sources for now, but it will be the same way to give sources for each one of these concerns. So I'll quickly go through the rest of it. Sorry if I'm taking too much time. So the next, I'm eager to work on this work further, and the work that needs to be done is enlarging the knowledge base to further include a lot more concerns that people might have, a lot more ways these concerns may be put forward, like training the VitAI bot more. There's also a need to add randomness to the agent's response. So if you guys notice, it would always say, I see, what else are your concerns? Maybe like add some more randomness to what those like filler responses are to make it more natural. Improve the dialogue manager's robustness to maybe what happens if the user is going off track. Maybe also make it very context specific. Maybe include the responses should be like more lost frame. This is something that I found in literature. Like lost frame messaging is very useful in convincing people. Fix the asynchronous bug, find more ways to further personalize the responses, and hopefully conduct a controlled study to measure the bot's impacts, which I hope to do by asking users about their views at the start and end of conversations, and really target the people who are neutral about vaccine safety, because those are the people we have the highest likelihood of changing their minds. And the extensions and implications of this same structure could be used to mitigate the spread of fake news and educate people on a plethora of topics. However, it could also be used to further the spread of fake news. So there's always that negative implication we need to take into consideration. Yeah, thank you for your attention. I'm eager to take any questions.